I've had a ton of fun making some advanced projects in the past week on my new Genmitsu PROVerXL 4030s that was sent to me to put to the test and review, and as you'll see, I've learned a lot of new techniques, got a 3D carving bit, and made some really cool projects. Right out the box, there's not a lot of parts. The machine is mostly separated into two major sections with a huge cable harness that comes ready to plug and play, with some really good quality plugs that remind me of music equipment. As you can see, the top and bottom part come mostly assembled, with the router being left to add to the top portion later. The controller is a nice big box, so I'm pretty sure this is never going to overheat and have such problems. Often they're cramped in little boxes bolted to the frame, but not for this. I like how it's a separate unit and the cables seem long enough to place it where it works for your setup. The instructions, as per usual with Genmitsu, are super complete and have clear, colorful 3D renders of everything you need to assemble and use it. Putting the top part on the bottom is as simple as putting it on and doing the bolts on both sides. It's self-aligning with the help of some aluminum blocks on the base. Next, you simply add the X motor on the side and then the whole Z assembly where the router will go. That's all for the big parts. The rest is all related to the harness with a few brackets to attach it to the frame. The cables are all well labeled and arrive naturally close to where they're connecting, so it's really easy to just get it all done. I had the same or very similar router in the 3020 Pro Ultra, and I love how this one has a display screen to show the actual speed of the router, instead of just numbers from 1 to 6. I'll definitely be using that to fine-tune my numbers and have repeated results. That's it for installation. Attach the cables on the back of the controller, switch it on, and it's ready to use. One thing I want to note, and I love this feature, is that your router is controlled on and off via G-codes. So as you'll see, with the switch on, it's not receiving power until the controller activates it with the code. You'll need to adjust your speed directly on the router, but it'll turn itself on and off with the job, which is a lot safer than having to do it manually. I still turn it off on the router to change bits and whatnot. It's a great double security. Before I get going, to protect the spoil board that comes with it, which has all the threads for bolting pieces down, I like to cut my own spoil board out of NDF and drill bigger holes than the original one, to easily align the bolts through mine. With my precision ruler and some tape to avoid drawing lines all over the board, I got it done easily and was ready to get some projects done. Zeroing Z is like with any other CNC. With this tool that comes with it, you clip onto the bit and have software probe it down. My first project, just to get a feel of the machine and not ruin any good materials with potential errors on my part, I cut this fish shape on 1/4 inch MDF. I'm running a 1/8 inch bit here, which is great for detail work or small cuts like this, but later most of my work will be with 1/4 inch bits, which are much faster and easier to work with. As expected, this is going really well and I'm now ready for a real project. For now, I have no dust collection, but as a good DIYer, I like to make that kind of stuff myself. So for now, I'll be using the one I printed a while ago for the 3020 Ultra machine. But it was made in a specific way to avoid the really tight area I had from the router Z area column, so later in the video you'll see I printed a new one that I designed specifically for this machine from a simpler model I found online, and it works great. You can also buy one from Genmitsu if you're not 3D printing or wanting to make your own, and I bet it works even better than mine. I just like to make what I can myself, and mine works good enough. Right at my second project, I decided to finally make something I've never done before, a multi-tool project. I'm making a wooden tray out of this walnut, and to carve out most of the materials, I'm using a 1/4 inch flat head bit, which is the go-to with CNCs of this size for just removing materials fast without much options for rounded corners and such. Once this is going to be done, I simply stop the router, change bits, recalibrate Z, and since it remembers its X and Y position, it's ready to go do my rounded edges with perfect precision without realigning the bit. It always scared me a little to send new G-code file on project I've waited a while for or worked hard on, but to get nice rounded corners right off the CNC, this is the way, and it went amazing. And as you'll see later, I've made some projects combining both 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch bits. 1/4 inch to hog out most of the materials fast, and 1/8 inch bit to get awesome details on the finish. For this tray, I've used what's called tabs, where the software leaves some wood tabs at the bottom of the project to keep it attached to the stock. For most of this video after, I've been using double-sided tape instead, as I find tabs, once cut off and sanded, leave little marks on the hardwood, and I prefer just using some cheap tape to get it done faster and more easily. I'm using the jigsaw to cut the tabs out, and then I have to sand them nice, so using double-sided tape avoids all that. Now for a more complicated project on some thicker walnut, I want to make this cool skull box that I found the files for on Etsy. It's a multi-tool project, but even more so it's a project where I need to use the CNC on both the top and bottom of the lid part. So precision is going to be important, and spoiler alert, it went awesome. Here's the process and results. For the first part, the bottom part, it's all done with a single bit, the 1/4 inch flathead bit, and there's no carving to be done on the bottom. That went great, and it's now ready. Where it gets interesting is now for the lid part. I need, as I said, to do both the top and bottom, but the top requires two tools. The same 1/4 inch bit and the new ball head bit I bought for 3D carving, and this is the first time I try it. I decided to start with the outside of the box because it'll give me a better way to clamp it upside down after, as the shape of the box is not square and I'm not going to cut it through in this step. It'll just be a block of wood from under, while hopefully being well aligned. The job of the 1/4 inch bit is to hog out most of the materials, so it'll get as close as it can to the design without ruining it, and then the other bit comes and does the detail work. From its ball end, it has infinite options for angles and heights. Time to get that new 3D carving bit to work and see what it can do. With the technique I selected in Fusion 360, the app I use to set path, which is mostly done automatically, makes it go from bottom to top, cleaning up with the ball tip where the flat tip couldn't reach, making your design totally pop out from the mess left from the previous bit. I then flipped it over and carefully aligned it so that when cutting the bottom portion, the concave section that goes over the bottom of the case is hopefully perfectly aligned and centered with the 3D carving. I had to sand this lip a little bit for it to slide in smoothly, but else it's ready to be finished, and with some butcher block oil, the finish left by that bit is super soft and feels like it just got sanded. Amazing results. Next, I wanted to make actual furniture, and the first time I got a CNC, the 4040 Reno, I made a step stool out of some plywood, and today I want to up the level a little bit with this awesome new machine and make a bigger one out of some high-end maple I bought. I want to make a step stool that will last forever. I found another design, a little bit taller, very similar, again on Etsy, as I'm not really a designer. I laminated two 6-inch boards, cut it into sections for the CNC, and got to work cutting those mostly simple 2D shapes. The maple is extremely hard and will be a good test for this. Here I used double-sided tape under all the cuts. I didn't want to deal with marks left from tabs, and it's just simpler once done to rip the tape off and be done. As expected, it did amazing. Cutting maple is a bit louder than I was used to with the maple previously, but it's not a problem, and performance is great. No burning whatsoever, and this wood can burn really easily. Each part took about 15 minutes, but I'll be experimenting with the PROVerXL over the next few weeks. I'm pretty sure I could have gone much faster and deeper without issue. This thing is very rigid, and the router is perfectly capable of some deep cuts compared to smaller spindles. I have 2 repeats of pieces, then a top part that has some indents in it for the legs, but also a throughout hole for the top as a handle. Once I was done, the pieces are really nice, connect together, but I decided to make it a little safer to use and add a big roundover on each part with my router. And with the nice crisp edges the CNC left, this was not an issue. Assembly went as planned, took a few seconds and I was done. I love the new tool and I plan to make more things like this. What's exciting also is that the PROVerXL can, like its name says, become X-large and has a few format size upgrades that it can do, up to 1010 by 1010 millimeters, which is massive. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the itch and want to upgrade to a bigger size and make some projects like this Adirondack chair or this fancy office chair. All projects again I get on Etsy, which I've made before with router and paper printed templates. But it would be pretty amazing to basically make one of those in a day on the PROVerXL. In this next project, a 3D carving similar to the box project I did, but with a lot more detail. I'm going to start again with the 1/4 inch flat bit, hog out most of the material, but this time I'm doing the last step with again a ball headed bit, but one of the Genmitsu 1/8 inch bit, which as you'll see does an amazing job at clearing out the rough cuts into amazing pieces of art. Using the 1/4 inch ball headed bit would skip a lot of details, like inside the eyes and others that you'll soon see. Like earlier, it's going from bottom to top, but this time it's obviously taking a little longer, but with the 1/8 inch bit, it does amazing results. Once taken out, it's simply oiled with butcher block oil. The art literally pops out, and this is a creepy one. Those pieces of art, most of them come with resale rights, so for about $6 I can now sell this on the marketplace for a lot of money and make some amazing profits that can be easily repeated. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do with this machine. Subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff, because very soon I'll have a video where I make stuff with the rotary attachment, which with the huge vertical capacity of the PROVerXL, I'll be able to make some really interesting projects. I also want to make a few complex cutting boards with handles, juice grooves and other usually complex elements made easily with this, and see if I can pull some good profits on the marketplace. A lot of things coming with this machine, so stay tuned. Thanks to Genmitsu for sending this over. I feel like a kid on Christmas Day playing around with all those files, bits, and it's a lot of fun and has a huge potential for making money, which I love to do with my projects. I'll left link in the description. Check them out, it's a great machine. I work with a few Genmitsu CNCs and it's always been a great experience and value. Thanks for watching, and see you soon with all sorts of projects.